Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another shirt from scratch video even though none of us have nowhere to go. I'm sewing a lot recently and I'm doing a lot of experiments. This video is one of those experiments. I saw this picture of Kendall on Instagram and I really liked her top. This top is originally from American Eagle, which I can't buy from, so I'm gonna make one for myself. Only difference I'm going to make is make my top a little bit longer so that my tummy doesn't show, but you can follow the steps and make it any length that you want. So let me show you how I made that. I'm gonna be using this denim fabric that I've had since ages. It's a little bit stretchy and it's just enough to make this top. If you don't have fabric, you can use a pair of large denim jeans to make it. So the first thing I'm doing is folding the fabric in half and taking an existing t-shirt, folding it exactly in half and placing it on the folded edge of the fabric and marking my seam allowance and armhole. So to mark the armhole, I'm placing my finger on the existing armhole and lifting the t-shirt to mark the point. I'm marking a little bit ahead so that the top is narrow and not as wide as my t-shirt. I'm also going to mark the sides with a half-inch seam allowance. Now you can decide how long you want the top to be and mark a point there. I'm just making my markings darker and also adding half an inch seam allowance to the armhole and the neckline and the bottom of the top. Now I'm just cutting everything out. After that's done, you'll have your front of the shirt. I'm folding in half and placing and tracing it on the leftover fabric, and I'm going to cut this out to make the back of the top. I'm going to cut this as well. So I realized that I marked with the pencil on the right side of the fabric, so I'm trying to erase as much as possible. Now I'm going to place the fabric right sides together and I'm going to join at the edges. First I'm going to stitch a straight stitch and then I'll also stitch a zigzag stitch to hem the raw edges. After that's done, I'm going to hem the armholes and the neckline. To do this, I'm just folding the edge twice and pinning it in place. This was a little tricky because the armhole was curvy, but with the help of pins, it was possible. So this is how it looks after pinned. Now I'm just going to stitch it with a straight stitch. I've done that with both the armholes and now I'm going to do the same thing with the neckline. I took 1.5 inches of strips. The length was approximate, so I'm just folding it in half, opening it and folding the edges into the between fold and folding it half again, and I'm going to top sew this to make the straps. I'll fix the length when I try on the top later on. So this is our top straps ready. I'm going to attach the straps with the help of a pin on the back side of the top. Now I just try the top on and I'm measuring where I want the straps to end at the front and I'm marking it with a pin. Place the pin on the strap and not on the top to mark your point. I took a panel that is folded in half, and it should be wider than the width of the top when folded in half. I didn't have a long panel, so I just added smaller pieces at the end, which I'll just put them in the back. So the wider this strip will be, the more ruffle you will be able to create. So my strip is just a little bit wider than the top because that's what I was left with. So now I chose the longest stitch on my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew this panel at one end. Make sure not to back sew while sewing this. Since you did not back sew, you'll be left with two threads, one on the upper side and one on the lower side. You're going to pull the lower thread to create gathering. Don't pull this thread very hardly because it can tear. Pull it gently and push the ruffles towards the panel. You can also pull the string of the other end as well. Now adjust your ruffles in a way that it is exactly the same width of your top. After that's done, close the open edges of this panel. Put the panel inside the top so that the right sides are facing together, and I'm going to pin this all along and sew it in place. I also close the edges with a zigzag stitch. Now all that's left is turning the ruffles to the right side, and I'm just going to iron on the seam. So this is how my top turned out, guys. So I thought of recreating the photos of Kendall, and to do that I made a handbag out of an old pair of jeans, and the handle is also repurposed from an old pair of jeans that I just attached. So I didn't have a skinny pair of blue jeans, so I just wore black ones, which also looked fine. And for the second picture, she was holding an ice cream cone, which I can't go out and get one for myself now, so I'm just gonna make one out of paper. Anyway, I ended up holding the cone in the wrong hand. So yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching.